Hello, my name is Avalon Newberry. I'm a junior at Southwell High School and I'm in Sports Medicine 3. This is my injury prevention, ankle sprain prevention for a runner project. My client is my mom, Maggie Fowle. She loves to work out, participate in activities like skiing, biking, and running, and she used to be a huge runner and asked me to help her gain back her range of motion, strength, and flexibility with her ankles to help her run longer and better. Here's a little bit of information about ankle sprains. Ankle sprains are caused from a stretch or tear of tissue/ligament in the ankle. This usually comes from twisting, rolling, or turning of the ankle. Symptoms include pain, swelling, bruising, and lack of range of motion, and that especially determines whether it's a grade 1, 2, or 3. Treatment also varies depending on the grade, can be commonly known as price or protection, rest, ice, compression, and elevation. Prevention for this, which I'll be talking about in my project, you can use bracing. You can also use preventative measures like building strength, flexibility, and balance in your ankles. Also correct shoes and range of motion and other factors. Client history with ankle sprains. My client has had 3 ankle sprains, 2 on her right foot and 1 on her left. They have all been grade 3 ATFL and CFL sprains. Project overview. This project will be determined if it's successful if my patient has the ability to perform the exercises with increased ease and stability, reduced amount of ankle sprains, improved performance in running activities, if it enhances her overall running experience, and I'll be using this measure of success to be able to know that. I will use ankle strength and flexibility tests, balance and proprioception assessments, feedback from my client, and her running performance assessments. Here is my training schedule. I will be working with my client 3 days a week for 2 weeks straight. On Monday, I will focus on range of motion and flexibility, working to stretch and improve the joints and muscles around the ankle for better movement. On Wednesday, I will be working on strength to target the muscles around the ankle for my clients who have better support and feel stronger. And on Friday, I will focus on balance and proprioception to improve my client's flexibility and trustfulness of her ankles to be able to become more trusting and also just have a better form for everything. The pain scale I'll be using is her pain scale before this program and after this program. I will be determining this by her running. Before her runs, before this program, she would average a 3 out of 10 pain in her ankles during her runs, a 5 out of 10 pain, and after her runs, a 5.5 out of 10. This caused her to not even be able to run. Most of the time she would walk, causing her to have a really slow time, and she really just wanted to improve it and get back to running pain-free. For my baseline testing, for range of motion and flexibility, I decided to use a goniometer to best demonstrate and be able to see the real difference. For dorsiflexion, my patient started out with 15 degrees in her right foot, 10 degrees in her left foot. For plantar flexion, she has 70 degrees in her right foot, 80 degrees in her left foot. For inversion, she had 20 degrees in her right foot, 10 degrees in her left foot. Eversion, 15 degrees in her right foot and 20 degrees in her left foot. It was quite interesting to see this because although I was more worried about her right ankle since it was most recently injured and has had 2 injuries, other than the just one on the left side, it was interesting to see what side was more sensitive with what, and that shows further on in the testing and even the trainings. For strength, I decided to do single leg calf raises, and I did all of these exercises till failure. At the beginning, she was able to do 10 single leg calf raises on her right and 12 on her left. For resistance band, we did dorsiflexion resistance band. She was able to get 25 on her right and 26 on her left. For plantar flexion with the resistance band, she was able to get 28 on her right and 26 on her left. For inversion with her with the resistance band, she was able to get 17 on the right and 28 on the left. And for eversion with the resistance band, she was able to get 24 on the right and 26 on the left. I was really just testing this to make sure what movements were harder for her and caused her more pain, or that she was able to do more of and less of, so we could really make a good program for her focusing on those aspects. For balance, we decided to do single leg balance with her eyes open. She was able to do it on her right for 27 seconds and on her left for 53 seconds. Then, with her eyes closed, she was able to do it on her right foot for 3 seconds, on her left foot for 4 seconds. And on an unstable surface, I used a couch pillow. She was able to do it on her right for 15 seconds and on her left for 31 seconds. These tests really helped show me that her right was definitely the weaker side when it came to certain aspects, especially her balance and strength. For my training for range of motion and flexibility, I decided to do gas pedals, where she basically made a dorsiflexion plantar flexion movement for 1 minute straight, as you can see here. For windshield wipers, it was an inversion eversion for a minute straight. I had her write the alphabet with her feet for a minute, and then I had her do walling toe extensions to be able to stretch the bottom of her foot along with her Achilles tendon. And then I had her do knees to wall stretch to really focus on her soleus and other calf muscles that might be tight, causing stress on her ankles. And that is the same reason for the wall calf stretch, which I did 30 seconds each side as well. For strength training, I did banded windshield wipers and gas pedals for a minute, and then lateral steps for a minute. More jumps, but I didn't want her to be overloaded with the jumping quite yet, but we worked our way up to it. I also had her do the towel scrunch for a minute and banded dorsiflexion march for a minute, along with heel holds, 2 legs for 30 seconds and 1 leg 15 seconds each. This was to help not only her ankles but her leg muscles as well, just to add for some added strength. For training for balance and proprioception, I decided to do marble pickup, and I had her do that for a minute, and then I had her work on her balance on an unstable surface again, 30 seconds each leg, heel to toe stands to really test her balance and make her have faith in her feet. And then I also had her do seated ball control. This was more on the proprioception side, just to help with her foot and tracking it. And then I had her stand on a block and I threw a ball at her and asked her math questions for a minute, just to really test her balance and have her become less dependent and focused on it. For final results for range of motion and flexibility, the goniometer was able to get up to 19 degrees for dorsiflexion on her right foot and 17 degrees for dorsiflexion on her left foot, so quite a bit of a difference. For eversion, on her right foot, she got 20 degrees, and on her left, she got 24. Once again, a pretty big difference. For plantar flexion, on her right foot, she was able to get 75, and on her left, 83. And for inversion, she was able to get 24 on her right foot and 17 on her left. For strength, she was able to get 41 reps of dorsiflexion with the band on her right, and on her left, 43. For plantar flexion with the band, she was able to get 52 on her right and 49 on her left. For inversion, she was able to get 26 and on her right and 36 on her left. For eversion on her right, she was able to get 30, and inversion on her left, she was able to get 34. Single ray calf raises she was able to average 16 on her right before failure and 19 on her left before failure. This was quite a big difference since before, and as you could still see, there was a drop off in between left and right, but still dramatically a lot better. For the final result of balance, My client had a single leg balance with her eyes open. She was able to stand on her right for 42 seconds, on her left for 72 seconds. She was able to do single leg balance with her eyes closed on her right for 7 seconds, on her left for 9 seconds, and on an unstable leg on her right for 22 seconds, and on her left for 36 seconds. Pain scale after running, my client had a 2 on the pain scale before a 2 out of 10 before running. During her run, it was a 3.5, and after her run, it was a 4. As you can see, her time dramatically increased, and she was able to actually run and pretty much significantly better. Her strength improved 6.4%, her flexibility improved 8.6%, and her balance improved 7.07%. As you can see in this graph, when she started, her strength started off pretty high or pretty low and really was able to rise. Same with all the other factors, especially her strength. In conclusion, this program has helped my client achieve her goals of being able to run better with less pain. It has efficiently and effectively improved her just ideas when it comes to running and get her back into running. It has had a huge decrease in her pain and an increase in her running performance. And after talking with my client, she really enjoyed this program.